What would you do if your loved one just had a stroke right in front of you? You've already called 911, but now what? Do you help them sit up? Give them water? Wait and hope? Those next few minutes could decide whether they walk again or ever speak again. Because when a stroke hits, every second counts, and for seniors over 60, the first 3 hours are your only chance to save the brain before permanent damage sets in. Today on Golden Aging Health, we're revealing 3 critical actions to take immediately after a stroke. These steps could mean the difference between life, death, or lifelong disability. If you're over 60 or care for someone who is, this may be the most important 10 minutes you spend all year. Miss those first 3 hours and you risk permanent brain damage, paralysis, or worse. Before we begin, hit the like button and subscribe to Golden Aging Health, your trusted source for life-saving, science-backed health tips for seniors. Let's start with the first and most urgent action. It's something that sounds obvious, but many people still get it dangerously wrong. Action number 1. Call 911 immediately. Never drive yourself or a loved one to the hospital. Someone shows sudden slurred speech, their arm goes weak, or their face droops on one side. What's your first instinct? If you said, "Drive them to the ER," think again. The most important step without question is to call 911 immediately. Why? Because paramedics are trained to start stroke evaluation and treatment on the way to the hospital. Every minute saved means more brain cells are protected. Here's why this matters. There's a powerful medication called TPAA, clot-busting drug, that can dissolve the blockage in the brain during an ischemic stroke. But it has one major condition. It must be given within a strict 3-hour window from the start of symptoms. Every minute you spend driving, waiting in traffic, or sitting in the ER line reduces the chance of that treatment working. A large national study published in the journal Stroke found that patients who arrived by ambulance were nearly twice as likely to receive TPA in time compared to those who came by car. Why? Because ambulance teams begin treatment prep immediately. They call ahead, they get fast-track access, and every second saved means more brain cells survive. Let's look at George's story. George, age 72, was sipping his morning coffee when he suddenly dropped the cup and couldn't speak clearly. His wife, panicked, reached for the keys, but their neighbor, a retired nurse, shouted, "Call 911 now!" They did. The ambulance arrived within minutes. Because paramedics had already started assessment and notified the hospital, George received TPA just 47 minutes after his first symptom. Today, he's walking and talking like it never happened. Now imagine if they had driven themselves and waited 30 minutes in the ER. That window would have closed and George's brain might not have recovered. So remember this. Calling 911 isn't just faster. It activates a stroke response system built to save lives. Never waste time trying to wait and see, or drive yourself thinking it's quicker. If you see facial drooping, arm weakness, or slurred speech, make the call immediately. Have you ever been in a situation where stroke symptoms showed up and you weren't sure what to do? Share your experience in the comments. Someone watching may face that moment tomorrow, and your story could help them make the right call. Now, I'll show you exactly what to do in those next few minutes while you wait for the ambulance. Because what happens before help arrives could decide whether your loved one gets treated in time or not at all. Action number 2. Record the time symptoms began. Every minute counts. Do you know what time a stroke started if your loved one suddenly collapsed in front of you? Because if you don't, doctors may not be able to treat them. The truth is, after calling 911, most people just wait. But during a stroke, time doesn't just pass, brain function disappears. And the next important action is to look at the clock. and record the exact time symptoms started. This isn't just helpful, it's crucial. Stroke treatments like the clot-busting drug TPA and procedures like clot removal are only allowed within a specific time frame. The most effective treatment window is just 3 hours from the start of the stroke. If doctors can't confirm when symptoms started, they may not be able to safely provide life-saving treatment. According to the American Stroke Association, the phrase "time is brain" is no exaggeration. In fact, research shows that during an acute ischemic stroke, the brain loses an estimated 1.9 million neurons every minute that treatment is delayed. That's why knowing when the stroke began isn't optional, it's essential to protect as much of the brain as possible. Here's what you need to do. Write down or say out loud the exact time the symptoms started. If you're not sure when the stroke started, note the last time the person was completely fine. For example, if someone woke up at 6:30 a.m. and spoke clearly, but by 7 a.m. they were slurring their words and couldn't lift an arm, the time started somewhere within that 30-minute range. Every second counts, and that information gives emergency doctors the power to act quickly. I'll share with you a true story here. Helen, 79 years old, from Arizona. She spoke to her daughter at 8:45 a.m. and seemed fine. But at 9:20 a.m., her husband found her slumped over on the couch, barely able to speak. He called 911 and also told them exactly when she was last feeling well. With that information, the ER team confirmed she was in the treatment window and started TPA quickly. She recovered with minimal damage. Now imagine if no one knew the start time. Doctors might have hesitated. Or worse, she might have been denied treatment altogether. Even if the symptoms disappear after a few minutes, which can happen with a mini stroke or TIU, still need to keep a record of the time. These warning strokes often occur hours before a more serious stroke. And that time is even more important if symptoms recur later. Here's a quick tip. If you're alone and feel something strange as sudden numbness, speech problems, or dizziness, look at your watch or phone right away. Say the time out loud. Call 911 and repeat the time when they respond. This can help emergency responders record the event more clearly. If this video gave you clarity or a life-saving step you didn't know before, don't keep it to yourself. Tap like, subscribe for more senior-focused health tips, and share this with someone you love. One simple action today could protect a brain, a memory, or a life. Next, we move on to the final important action you can do with your eyes and voice to help paramedics quickly determine where and how the stroke is affecting your brain. Action number 3. Perform a quick stroke check. Help paramedics assess fast. If your loved one suddenly couldn't speak or move one arm, would you know what to do before the ambulance arrives? Because in a stroke, the minutes before paramedics reach you are not just a waiting game. They're your chance to give doctors a head start or leave them guessing in a life or death moment. After you've called 911 and recorded the time the symptoms began, the third step is to perform a fast, focused stroke check. You don't need a medical degree or any special equipment, just your eyes, your voice, and your attention to detail. Why is this so important? Because when first responders arrive, your observations can guide their decisions. What you see in those first few minutes can help determine how urgently the hospital prepares, which treatments to use, and even where in the brain the stroke is happening. There's a simple method that doctors and EMTs use worldwide. It's called the FAST test stand. You can do it right now. F is for face. Ask the person to smile. Watch closely. Does one side droop or move more slowly than the other? A is for arms. Ask them to raise both arms. Can they do it evenly, or does one drift down? S is for speech. Ask them to say a simple sentence like, "Today is a good day." Is the speech slurred, strange, or hard to understand? T is for time. If you see any of these signs, you already know what to do. You've called 911. But now, remember exactly what you saw and when. I once met Lisa, a 78-year-old woman at a public health conference. One morning, she saw her husband Ron drop the spoon in his cereal. He looked dazed. She asked him to raise his arms, only one moved. She asked him to smile, only one side lifted. She told the 911 dispatcher everything she observed. Because of her description, paramedics alerted the hospital stroke team early. Ron was scanned, diagnosed, and treated within 50 minutes and walked out of rehab 2 weeks later. Those few minutes of observation changed the outcome of his entire life. And if the person can't respond or is unconscious, you can still check visually. Look at their faces. Are both arms limp, or is one moving oddly? Are they trying to speak but can't form words? Every detail counts. You don't need to be a doctor to make a difference, but you do need to be present, alert, and ready to notice what others might miss. Still, think asking someone to smile or lift their arms is too simple to matter? That one small check could save their brain. Share your story in the comments and type fast below if you're ready to remember the test that could save a life. Now take a moment to review the 3 life-saving actions every senior must know in the first 3 hours after a stroke. Call 911 immediately. Never try to drive yourself. Record the exact time the symptoms began, and perform a quick stroke check using the FAST method to help emergency responders act fast. These steps might seem simple, but they are the difference between early treatment and irreversible brain damage. When it comes to strokes, the brain doesn't wait. And after 60, our response time becomes even more critical. Research from the American Stroke Association and leading neurology journals confirms that early recognition and rapid action within the first 3 hours dramatically improves survival, recovery, and long-term quality of life for stroke patients. The good news? You don't need special training or equipment to save a life. You just need to know what to do and act without hesitation. If this video gave you new tools or made you think differently about stroke emergencies, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Golden Aging Health for more trusted, science-backed tips for smarter aging. And please share it with someone close to you. That one simple act could change the outcome of someone's next emergency. Want to go deeper? Check out our playlist, Stroke and Heart Attack, for more videos on prevention, early warning signs, and the daily habits that protect your brain. The time to prepare is now before the crisis comes. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next video.